The attitude of Western states toward Iran needs to change. The political map of the Middle East has not been designed by its own people. It happened on the basis of greater powers and benefits. The greater powers, to achieve their targets, did not take into account the rights of oppressed people and individuals. They, as colonial states, have continued their policy more or less and are still active to keep these policies. They have tried to maintain their position by dealing with autocratic states and undemocratic regimes. In fact, taking advantage of undeveloped societies which ruled violently and tyrannically has been beneficial to the greater powers and authoritarian of those undeveloped states. The nations and their people from undeveloped countries and societies have suffered unfair policies and have been weak and toothless. They were not independent states with political or national sovereignty, and they were forced to accept the tougher policies of the more powerful states. As a result of the aforementioned policies, a lot of people from across the world still have no chance of being free citizens and continue to live under oppression and poverty. In addition, the vassal states in undeveloped countries caused irreparable damage and dominate their citizens and people by force and violence. Past events and historical evidence indicates how superpowers as an external factor had a great impact on the affairs of undeveloped countries. There is no doubt that internal factors contributed to the whole political process of the undeveloped states, and in some way they have supported the external factors. In fact, developed and colonial countries needed and need repressive leaders and oppressed people in undeveloped countries. They have the upper hand in sectors of economy, politics, diplomacy, war, peace, culture, and science. In these, they have a leading position, and this policy serves their position and benefits. It can be argued that the Western states were not committed to their promise to humanitarian rights, democracy, and freedom of speech. Their words, slogans, and promises have faded and misled the masses in different parts of the world. Iran is one of the countries that has been under the impact of the greater powers, especially the UK, USA, and more members of EU. Huge events from the last century highlighted how foreign states affected the affairs of Iran radically. When the Western states got tired of the Shah, they supported mullahs in different ways to seize power in Tehran. The Shah was no longer useful for their politics and he needed to be replaced. The Iranian Islamic Revolution was not possible without the support of Western states or external factors. From the view of more developed countries, the establishment of a religious system in Iran was a strong wall against the advancement of communism and influence from the Soviet Union. People, under the shadow of much propaganda, ran easily after the mullahs and became obsessed. They were cheated by religious men and intellectuals without experience and practice, and they became victims who lost their hope and direction. During the last 4 decades, differing peoples and individuals in Iran have paid a hard price. They faced a wide range of challenges under the pressure of the mullahs and also counterfeit policies of the Western states. The leadership of the regime in Tehran, at the cost of its own people, tried to export the Islamic Revolution. The harsh and wrong policies of the mullahs caused and extended the amount of crisis. Then situations of torture, panic, and terror increased significantly. The regime repression policy and a devastated economy has brought people to their knees. Demonstrations in Iran have been suppressed and the options appear to be exhausted. Iranians have become accustomed to their status and they have no vision about the future. The lack of faith and trust among people affected the nature of its rulers. The citizens of the country have no expectations of themselves and are not ready to change their situation. They are waiting for external powers to do their job. The foreigner states had a great impact on the political issues and their direction in Iran. It is so obvious how they have attempted to keep this country and its resources in their own hands. To achieve their aim, they have invented ways and means as well as using their intelligence services. The story of nuclear programs between Iran and the Western states did not lead in any direction. The game of nuclear programs affected all the basic issues and kept people in a state of long-term concern. In fact, the policy of the Western states relating to any nuclear program has turned into a media war. This land belongs to a different people such as the Kurds, Azeris, Persians, Arabs, and Baluch. However, torture, prison, violence, pressure, death sentences, and intimidation has taken the country and its population into a serious situation. The Kurds, more than other nations, have suffered in their land, Kurdistan, in the Middle East. The activists, the transporters of goods at the border, teachers of our own mother language pay a high price in East Kurdistan, Iran. They are shot on their own land, killed or wounded, imprisoned in the name of God and national security. The case of Kurdish people in Iran has been forgotten and their case does not attract attention anywhere. They need more of a humanitarian and fair Western policy towards the Kurdish case in Iran. The Kurdish dire conditions under the shadow of state terror is highlighted by the number of Kurdish political prisoners, along with the executions, deaths, as well as those who are killed and wounded for transporting goods to the border. The human rights in this land are in a difficult and stressful phase, and yet has received little attention. The viewpoint of foreigner states is that the economic benefits come first and are the priority. Now is the time to show that self-determination of people, humanitarian rights, mankind, and in whole blood is more valuable than oil and any benefits. The problem of the country and its future demands from foreigner states clearly the USA, EU, and UK must change their attitude towards the Iranian Islamic Revolution. The Iranian nations are in a severe torment and they have no choice.